Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Gonna be back. So want to go ahead and do a quick reaction to what was unquestionably one of the biggest and most important results of the day on Saturday. And it came from Orlando, Florida. Yes, of course, we are talking the Colorado UCF game in Orlando. Okay, so this was a big one, right? Big noon kickoff is there. UCF 3-0, fringes of the top 25. People are saying, are they a dark horse Big 12 title contender leading the country in rushing? I would add this. This was one of the biggest recruiting weekends in UCF history, okay? Over 100 recruits on campus. Dallas Wilson, a five-star who's committed to Oregon, was on campus. So this was as big of a moment for UCF football as they have had in a very long time. And unfortunately, unless you're a Buff, that party got ruined by Colorado. It was funny. Coach Prime, earlier this week, we talked about it on this channel. Coach Prime said at one of his press conferences, he said, I'm still waiting for us to put together 60 minutes of complete football on both sides of the ball. Well, Colorado does that in a dominant victory over UCF. And I just got one question for you, baby. Do you believe yet? That is right. We are talking Coach Prime. We are talking Colorado, who now improves to 4-1. And here's the big thing. I think you start looking at this schedule. There are a lot of wins left on this schedule. And listen, the Coach Prime haters might be in shambles for the next few weeks, okay? So let's go ahead and dive in. And as I said, this one had a big game feel to it. No, the weather was weird. Obviously, we hope everybody's okay with the hurricane, kind of barreling down on the southeast portion of the country. But once this game started, Colorado scores early. Then UCF scores early. Then Shedeur hits Will Sheppard with one of the most beautiful passes we've ever seen. 47 yards in the air, pitch and catch. Colorado goes up 14-7, and from then it was on. There is no doubt in my mind that Colorado was the better team, completely dominated. The rest of the first half, they go up 27-14 into the locker room. They're up 41-21 going into the fourth quarter. And oh, by the way, that Cameron Simon Craig fumble recovery for a touchdown seals it in what I believe was the most dominant and complete victory of the Coach Prime era for Colorado. In terms of the particulars, a couple things stand out. One, the Shedeur wide receiver, Travis Hunter, there's like 7 separate conversations we could have, okay? Listen, I've been saying on this channel for the last couple weeks, and I truly believe it. This is no disrespect to Carson Beck, who, by the way, is about to start playing. We're recording this about 7:45 Eastern time on Sunday. So if Carson Beck throws for 600 yards, we'll reevaluate. But with due respect to Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, whoever, Shedeur Sanders is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in college football. Huge arm, incredible feet, can evade pressure. He takes big hits. He throws balls on a dime. We saw it last week to LeJontay Wester. We saw a couple huge throws. Again, the Will Sheppard touchdown pass. There was a couple other dimes to various guys throughout this game. Shedeur is special, okay? Now, to be clear, I think Shedeur is certainly helped by the fact that I believe this is one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country, okay? And I've been saying this since July and August when this roster came together. And I give credit to Brock Heward for finally saying it on a broadcast because I haven't heard anybody else say it, is that when you look at this Colorado team, listen, I understand Ohio State has a bunch of dudes that are going to play on Sundays. I understand that Texas has a bunch of dudes that are going to play on Sundays. But when you talk about a wide receiver room that is a group that has as many dangerous weapons as any in college football, I don't know how you can't put Colorado in a conversation with anybody, okay? Because you look at this game, as the game is now, game being final, Shedeur, quote unquote, only throws for 290 yards, okay? Travis Hunter was again incredible. 9 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Will Sheppard, the best game that he has played. Jimmy Horn is a guy that can make plays on any given play. And then LeJante Wester, last week's hero, has another touchdown. So that is now what, if I'm not mistaken, 4 straight games where he has found the end zone. 4 straight games, I am correct, in which he has found the end zone. And so listen, I know Ohio State's going to get the hype. I know that Texas is going to get the hype. But at the same time, LeJante Wester, Travis Hunter, Will Shepherd, you go on and on down the list. This team has as many dudes who can beat you as anybody. By the way, also worth noting, a third straight game where Colorado ran the ball effectively, 128 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. I've been trying to tell you, everybody that's been saying, oh, this is the same team from a year. It's not even close. It's not even the same stratosphere. They're running the ball. Shedeur has more time in the pocket. Shedor's making plays. And the crazy part was, I don't even know if the offense fully clicked on Saturday. By the way, should mention, since I'm talking about the offense, I'm sorry. If you don't have Travis Hunter as your Heisman frontrunner right now, this second, there's an old saying, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. I'm sorry, you just don't know ball. Because this kid, listen, first of all, some of these catches that he makes are unbelievable, okay? First, I think it was maybe the first quarter of the game, I tweeted it out. You can find me at Aaron_Torres, by the way. He has this play where he jumps and he extends full extension, makes the catch, comes down for a first down. I mean, the kid is unbelievable. Brock Heward, again, I give him credit because he talked a lot about it, is that, he is Travis Hunter plays the wide receiver position like a cornerback, right? Knows what the corner wants to do, or knows what the corner is looking for, and then he does the opposite. It was funny, like the touchdown pass that he had, Brock Heward, I actually thought did a great job of explaining how Travis Hunter basically baited the corner into thinking he was going outside, then cut inside, boom, for a touchdown. Oh, by the way, did I mention Colorado, on top of the fact that Travis Hunter had all those catches, 89 yards, 9 catches, 89 yards, unfortunately broke his 5-game streak of 100 yards receiving. You know what's crazy? He took care of business on the other side of the ball too, with that interception for the Colorado Buffs late in the game. So Travis Hunter, to me, I'm sorry, he is, in my opinion, the Heisman Trophy favorite. Loved, by the way, the Heisman pose that he put out later in that game. And listen, I'm just here to tell you is that when I look at this kid should be your Heisman front runner right now, this second, going forward, because this kid is so special. He's so talented and, deserves every piece of accolade that he's getting. Again, we saw him give the Heisman pose late in the game. It was awesome. It was the end of the third quarter, I should say. I'm tripping over my own words here. Here's the thing, though, okay? Just spent a lot of time talking about the offense. Let's give credit where it's due to this defense as well. Because one thing I said, listen, I'm not an X's and O's guy. I can't promise anything. But I said all offseason, I don't know if the defense is going to be better. What I do know is that they are literally better at every single spot on the field. Okay, you look at the dudes they have. BJ Green keeps making plays. Levante Bentley is unbelievable. Obviously, Cameron Soman Craig, who came with Coach Prime from Jackson State all those years ago, making a difference. We know about Travis Hunter, Preston Hodge. You go on and on down the list. I mean, I could just go on for days, but this defense is so much improved and so much better than they have been, and seemingly getting better every week. This was a UCF team that led college football in rushing coming into the game. Holds them to 167 yards on the ground, about 4 yards per carry. It's not great, but when you factor in that they were averaging 375 yards on the ground coming into the game, that speaks to, again, what this team is capable of and how improved this defense is. Finally, let me say this. This is a hot take. People are going to get mad. Be ready, though. Colorado is 4-1. Look at the rest of the Big 12. And I said this earlier this week, and people got triggered and people got mad. Look at the Big 12. I am here to tell you, Colorado could be in the conversation for the Big 12 title race, the Big 12 championship game, and a college football playoff appearance later in the year. Not saying it's going to happen. Not saying they're the favorites. Utah looks awesome. I don't want to discredit what Utah is doing at all right now, especially with a backup quarterback in Cam Rising. But some of these games that look so brutal early in the year, they're not so brutal anymore. Kansas State, yes, Kansas State took care of business on Saturday. Kansas State has laid 2 absolute eggs on the road. Got destroyed last week at BYU. 3 weeks ago, should have lost on the road to Tulane. Well, guess what? Where they got to go in 2 weeks? They got to go to Colorado with both teams coming off a bye. You look at the rest of the schedule, okay? Arizona, listen, I said it earlier in the week. I was as big of a proponent of that program as anybody in college football a year ago. Jed Fish was awesome. They won 10 games, but Jed Fish is gone. Listen, and by the way, we're recording here again, 7:45, 7:50 right now at night. So if Arizona upsets Utah, okay. But Arizona's been a mess early. Can't figure out the offense, can't figure out the defense. They've regressed. Got killed by Kansas State a few weeks ago. Where else? Oklahoma State has 2 losses. Oklahoma State's a mess. They play at Colorado on Black Friday. So I could go on and on down the list, but where are the losses? Utah's tough. I'll give you that. Texas Tech playing on the road. That's a weird place to play. Everybody struggles there. Ask Colt McCoy. Ask anybody who's ever played at West Texas. But all of a sudden, Kansas State at home doesn't look like an impossible game. Arizona on the road. You lost on a walk-off field goal last year to Arizona, a much better Arizona team than the one we've seen so far. Texas Tech is going to be tough. Cincinnati, we'll see. At Kansas doesn't look as tough. So credit Coach Prime. Listen, Coach Prime deserves a lot of credit, man. There's a lot of noise in college football, and there's a lot of noise around this program. But Colorado has blocked it out. I believe they've gotten better every single week, essentially. Even last week, people say, oh, my God, they needed the miracle against Baylor. Okay, cool. Here's the counter to that. They gave up a punt return for a touchdown, or they wouldn't have needed the miracle. But they're 4-1. They're 2-0 in the Big 12, and there are a lot of wins left on this schedule. So my question for you, do you believe, because you better, credit Coach Prime, credit Colorado, the 48-21 dominant victory? And I think there's a lot of good news coming as Colorado heads into